venting, you just want to be heard, but you're more so trying to be validated. You know, you just want to talk. But with counsel, there's a point. You know, it's not that I'm just trying to be heard, just want people to hear my side. But no, I'm trying to get an understanding. If I was wrong, then okay, what was I wrong for this? Or maybe show me what it is I could have done better. There's a point. There's a point with those things. So, and then also being in a space to where you're more so in a spirit or mindset of, I'm trying to be better and do better, So, and that's me. I'm trying to be better and do better. So, if there's advice, I'm trying to get that advice. I'm not just trying to justify myself or just simply just talking just for someone to hear me talk or just to be heard. So there's a difference. Same way with murmuring and complaints and yeah, vain babbling, just idle chatter. It's not going anywhere. And so we're just getting more of an understanding on that. So we're going to pick things back up in the book of Deuteronomy where we left off in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 21, and then 26 and 28. So, all right, so yeah, we're going to pick things up in the book of Deuteronomy. Change my mic. So, and here just in case. Okay. All right, so hopefully that's better. All right, so let's get Deuteronomy chapter 1, and let's read verse 21. Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 21, and it reads, Behold, the Lord thy God has set the land before thee. Go up and possess it. As the Lord God of thy fathers has said unto thee, fear not, neither be discouraged. Okay, so neither be discouraged. And actually, I'll read down to 28 because this is also important. So here it is. The Most High God is giving the order. He's saying, hey, he already let you know. And there's a reason, why he said, hey, go up and possess it. And he also said, fear not, neither be discouraged. He doesn't want you to operate in fear. And he doesn't want you, discouraging yourself based upon things you may see or you may hear. Why? Because the Most High God, he's trying to work with you. He wants you to succeed. Let's read on, 22. And ye came near unto me, every one of you, and said, we will send men before us, and they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again, by what way we must go up, and into what cities we shall come. So sending out, squads or squadrons of people to go, check out, land, do a recon mission, reconnaissance. So our forefathers were doing that. Hey, military tactics and strategies 101. So 23. And the saying pleased me well. And I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe. So taking 12 choice men, one of a tribe, leaders, all supposed to be leaders or in leadership positions. 24. And they turned and went up into the mountain, and came unto the valley of Eshcol and searched it out. And they took of the fruit of the land in their hands, and brought it down unto us, and brought us word again, and said, it is a good land which the Lord our God doth give us. They were able to see, hey, it's a good land. It's good fruit growing here. It's fertile. Part of having good land is fertile land. If the land isn't rich in vegetation, then probably not going to be good land, because one of the biggest things we have in land is I need to be able to grow crops to be able to primarily feed myself and my family. So 26, notwithstanding, you would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of the Lord your God, because rebelling against God is commandment. Anything you're told to do, a command. So, but it's one of those things to where, like you said, you would not go up, but ye rebelled against the commandment of the Lord your God. Let's see how. What was the rebellion? Because here, you see it has that calling. It's about to go and explain what the rebellion was. 27. And ye murmured in your tents. That's the key thing. You murmured in your tents. Now you think again, your tent, you thinking your tent is like your house. I'm in my house. You think you just because you in your house, I can just speak freely in my house. No, that's not the case. Because you could still be doing wrong in your house. So to put it in perspective is okay, even if your house, even if you're in your house, that mean now it's okay because you in your house you can murder. It's my house. No. Just because someone come in your house mean you can steal, you can rob them. Well, they in my house, so it should be mine. They in here. Why it even in here? Why you bring it in here? Why you bring it in if I couldn't have it? No, it's not the mindset to have. So it's understanding even if you're within your dwelling space, your house, your room, your garage, your car, there are still things you still always have to be mindful what things you're speaking out on or speaking up on and how you're talking about the matter. Else you could be causing an offense, both before man and before the Most High. But first and foremost before the Most High because he hears you. Hey, Most High, he can technically hear everything that's going on simultaneously. It's just he's selective on what he pays attention to. Yeah, he said, I hear you, but I ain't listening. Nah, I ain't doing that. All right, okay, cool. I got you. 27, ye murmured in your tents and said, let's see what they said. What was the conversation about? Because the Lord hated us, he had brought us forth out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us. These are the conversations and things that are being had behind closed doors. Talking about the Most High. And something that ain't even true. That's the one of the biggest things with murmuring. Talking behind closed doors, a lot of times talking about stuff that ain't even true. Ain't even true. But that's just how you feel. So, and that's a big problem. Because that's what murmuring leads to. You're speaking on things you don't even truly understand or have enough of the story about. What you're saying isn't true. And in addition to, you're not taking it to the right channels or going about it the right way. Because, of course, they understood that there's a problem. Pray to the Most High about it. And then also understanding that at the heart of it, that's what the Most High ain't doing. He ain't bring you all out of Egypt and do all this stuff just to kill you. What kind of sense does that make? Why do I put in all this work, all this time, all this effort to get you out of this bad situation just to kill you in another bad situation? Why? That would be very, very, very strange. Very strange. And the God of the Bible, the God of the universe, is a wise God, wise power. Ain't just doing stuff for no reason or, spontaneous. No, planned out, thought out. God of war, God of strategy. So it don't work like that. Now, verse 28. So whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our heart, saying, the people is greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to heaven. And moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakims there. The Anakims, those are the giants, sons of the giants. So sons and daughters of the giants. But now, they were seeing all these things, and this was part of them, again, this is what caused the fear. And this is why sometimes as leaders, even if you may see something, you may feel a certain way, you got to be mindful, especially because you carry more weight. Your words carry more weight. But all of us in general, we have to be mindful of that, because just how you seen something, you started speaking on it negatively, you can discourage other people. It's like you may have brothers and sisters trying to put an event on. You may not personally care for the event. You may not like it. You may not want to come. But don't start openly talking about, man, well, this event, it probably ain't going to be when people, they probably ain't really going to show up. They probably ain't going to do it right. Probably gonna forget the drapes, forget the lights, and music probably not gonna be that good. I don't do that because then your words can discourage others from participating, taking away from the overall festivity of the event. Because one of the things with having festivities is having the people there. We want to have a party and just don't nobody show up or just one person show up. Not as much of a party, right? Usually, if the intent is to have a party, a feast, a celebration, you want a good number of people to show up because that's what makes it more festive. So why would you want to say things that could possibly discourage, someone else from participating or getting involved, especially if you haven't really, really taken the time to make sure is everything I'm speaking on correct? Is this all right information that I'm saying? And then did I even bring this information to the proper channels first? Gotta correct yourself. Anyone can fall prey to it. It's, man, I ain't gonna hold it. It's checking yourself. It's being aware that, oh snap, okay, I might be murmuring in this situation because of how I feel or what I think, but I'm not going about it in the best way or in the right way. Okay, I stand, or in this case, sit corrected. So, and you also learn, man, even murmur is multifaceted. It can instill fear in people. So, and one of those biggest fears is what? Distrust. Distrust. Because once distrust is sown, it takes its roots deep, and it can be hard to uproot once you have distrust sown into a situation. Because now with distrust, now you're going to have discord and division. And that makes it harder to actually build effectively and productively when you have that. Let distrust be sown in the board. Because think about it. When you have a certain fear, right? Let's say, let's just say I have, I don't know. Okay, let's just say, all right, perfect example. Still with marriage or union, right? And if I have a fear that my significant other may just run up the credit card or something like that, or just take money out of account, then I'm always going to be checking accounts to make sure money's still there, still good. Asking them, you buy anything? What you buy? Let me see the receipt. How much? There's all these extra things, but that fear is there, and it's gonna lead to that distrust. Like it's a domino effect with these things. So it's people just see, oh, just murmur, but no, they don't understand. There's a domino effect that happens from that the Most High doesn't like. It's not saying that there aren't times when things, could have been done better or things are wrong. Okay, perfect example. You at the feast, go to the feast, right? People bring in potluck. And there's a dish there that, like, let's just say sister made some, I don't know, some fried chicken, and fried chicken, it's too salty, and you told her, it's kind of salty. Hey, you tried the fried chicken? Yeah. Did you find a little salty? Yeah, I did find a little salty. Oh, okay. You know what? You know who made the dish? I think Sister Maybell made it, Okay. All right, okay. Well, I'm gonna talk to her because, I see it's a little salty. She may not have known, Okay, that's a better way to go about it. Because the goal is to help each other. Not just talk bad about each other. There's a difference. So, but now you don't want to be the one. You take that fried chicken? I take that thing was that ain't it.
I don't know who made that, but oh, I think just maybe she don't need to make nothing like that again. I don't know what's wrong with her. Shoot, probably need to stay out of the kitchen. Probably need some cooking classes. Go with my eye teacher. Mm. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be that way because now that wasn't profitable because all it did was leave the matter unresolved, didn't solve anything, didn't help anything, but you didn't have to put all the extras on it, and talk about in the way that you did. There's a different way that it could have been addressed. So, and it's realizing that, okay, I shouldn't have dealt with it in that type of way. So, and for some people, it's that reminder you get, hey, if you can't say something nice, just don't say nothing at all. You know, some people you got to move that way because you just won't channel it properly. But other times, nah, if you can't, you just channel it right. You know, pull people to the side, talk to the right people. And then if things come up, things like, you taste that chicken stuff? Oh yeah, I know, Sister Maybell made it and I talked to her, about the recipe and, let her know, hey, this is just, honestly, I pulled her aside, just, honest feedback that did feel like chicken was, little too salty, but I think she, really understood and, I think, she'll get it. Next batch will probably be good. Oh, okay, okay. Well, it's good. You kill a lot of stuff that way. You kill a lot of problems that way. So I make sure I do that. And to the best of my ability. And it's something. Even at work, I gotta do it. Make sure I hear something. Say, hey, let me make sure I pull this person aside because they may not know. Some people, and that's the other thing too. You be talking about people, and sometimes they may not even know. Certain people may not necessarily have the same level of self-awareness or just they're numb to it or don't realize they do it. They do it incoherently. They do it and don't even know they're doing it. But if all everyone does is talk about you, who's ever gonna help you? Like the scripture saying, everyone doesn't have that knowledge or wisdom. We take for granted and just think everybody grew up like you, or everyone has the same level of intellect or common sense as you do in that area when that's not the case. That's not the case. Some they weren't raised like you were. They weren't taught how you were. And if no one teaches them, especially if they're not in a place to be able to learn, how are they gonna know? And they can end up making the same mistakes years down the road. So you have that. So you have those types of situations. So and you don't want to have all that, like I said, all that distrust and everything, all that discord. It makes it difficult to build, you know. So, like it's good to deal with. If you're trying to put a brick down, someone else coming behind you and just removing it, and then, you trying to put down, someone else come in and remove it. It's gonna be hard for you to get anything done. So, it's gonna be very difficult. So even if you have someone else coming in and saying, all right, well, let's build over here instead, you know. But then you have someone else, even on top of that, well, why are we building anyway? So, and leave off building, walk off the job. So that'll leave you stagnated in the same spot. I'm not able to make progress. Well, why? Because I'm trying to build right here. Someone else putting all the bricks over here. No, can't have that, Just give an example of you're double working yourself. Murmuring just creates more problems, and it can become a bigger fire that can be a raging inferno. So much harder to put it out now because it's already gotten so big and it's already doing so much damage, so much. So it's hard to reverse it. So now let's get the next. Let's get Mark chapter 14, 3 through 9. Mark 14, 3 through 9. Excuse me. Mark chapter 14, Verse 3. And being in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box. This is a woman, and she had an alabaster box. So, let's read. Of ointment of spikenard, very precious, and she brake the box and poured it on his head. And there were some that had indignation within themselves and said, Why was this waste of the ointment made? For it might have been sold for more than 300 pence, and have been given to the poor. And they murmured against her. Listen to that. They murmured against her. So they saw, you know what? He said, he says it. He says it. Let me not even. 6. And Yahushua said, Let her alone. Why trouble ye her? She hath wrought a good work on me. For ye have the poor with you always, and whensoever ye may do them good. But me ye have not always. And, she hath done what she could. She is come aforehand to anoint my body to the burial. Make sure I saw one. Okay, one more, verse 9. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. So now, what do we have here? We have a situation where came a woman, alabaster box full of ointment, some expensive stuff, break it, pour it on, Christ's head, Mashiach Yahushua, in Hebrew in the world knows Jesus Christ, pour it on his head. Now, what some of the disciples were thinking, why you wasting it if, he gonna die? Why you wasting on him? That's the good stuff. That's your good stuff. But notice that the key thing, like it said, is that, and they murmured against her. So, meaning most of this stuff is all coming from side chatter. But with side chatter, some people, especially our people, can talk loud, right? Talk so loud, guess what? Others can hear you. Now, it doesn't mean they're trying to be in your business, but the louder you talk, the easier it is for your voice to be heard because your voice carries. Your voice carries. So, now, let's get... I'll emphasize this in verse 4 and 5 again. Verse 4. And there were some that had indignation within themselves. So remember, indignation within themselves, meaning what? What is indignation? Let's get that. Indignation. Indignation, strong displeasure at something, considered unjust, offensive, insulting, or base. Righteous anger. So they had a strong displeasure. Strong displeasure and offense. So, verse 6, going back to Mark. And Yahushua said, Let her alone. And why trouble ye her? She hath wrought a good work on me. For ye have the poor with you always. So, with here, like I said, understanding, if Christ wasn't there, she just would have been upbraided. She would have been perceived as being, bad, wicked, wrong, vile, rebellious, So, you could have that. But sometimes you have people there that can keep a lot of that stuff down and keep a lot of, stuff calm. Christ was doing that, keeping a lot of the drama down. If we let them know, man, y'all got the poor. Y'all worried about, this could have been, giving the poor. Man, they going to be here. But I'm not. My time is short. That's why I'm trying to get y'all right. So, and that's very important. It does show where her mind and spirit was given giving Christ the best she had, understanding, you know, both his purpose and with how he was as a leader, because he is a leader. So, a leader. So, understanding that. And she valued that enough to spend what she had that was precious to her on him, even though he's gonna pass away, in the near future. So, like I said, so now, uh, let's get Luke 15, 1 through 4. Luke 15, 1 through 4. So, but it also shows, with Christ, he's not about the murmuring game and stuff like that. He's not about that life. So, if it's issues, hey, talk to the person. So, let's get Luke 15, 1 through 4. Luke chapter 15 and verse 1. And it reads, draw close, draw nigh, draw near unto him all the publicans and sinners for to hear him. Verse 2. And the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, this man receiveth sinners and eateth with them. Which, of course, lies and rumors. Christ wasn't just chilling with them just to chill. He's trying to teach them, trying to convert them. So, hey, we need you on the team. So, let's see. Verse 4. What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he lose one of them, did not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after that which is lost until he find it? And when he hath found it, he layeth it on his shoulders, rejoicing. So, now, we had many coming to hear about Christ, but all the Pharisees and scribes saw was, well, Christ, he hanging out with these sinners, these people. So, people who are known for being in sin. But, like I said, everyone has an opinion. Christ had to teach them. So, I am with them to help teach them and bring them to repentance. So, now let me see. And of course, they were willing to hear the word. So, let's get John 7 and 8. John 7, 8. John chapter 7, verse 8. Let's get the book of John. Chapter 7 and verse 8. Book of John chapter 7 verse 8. It says, go ye up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come. So now let's get down, get verse 11 through 13. Verse 11. And the Jews sought him at the feast and said, where is he? And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him. Everybody talking about you and your situation. Everybody want to talk about you. Now you the new word on the street. So then the Jews sought him at the feast and said, where is he? And there was much murmuring among the people. Much, not a little bit, a lot. Much murmuring among the people concerning him. For some said, he is a good man. Others said, nay, but he deceiveth the people. Now, which one you think it was based on what we read in general, not just in this particular class or setting. So, that was Christ really misleading and deceiving the people? No. So, verse 12. And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him. For some said, he is a good man. Others said, nay, but he deceiveth the people. So, you're always going to have that. Someone's always going to have something negative to say. So, and murmuring can also become very cliquish. Okay. You say it around select brothers and sisters, but not around, or rather to the person involved. Because you rather stay comfortable murmuring. Rather stay comfortable. Some people, they most comfortable just being able to do whatever they want to do. I ain't trying to change. I ain't got to change nobody. That's how I feel. Good number, not everybody. Let's get 1 Corinthians 10 through 12. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10 through 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 10. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer. So you don't want that. You don't want to murmur. That gets you caught up and put to death. Because the biggest thing the Most High was putting them to death for right there was murmuring. Always complaining, always talking about somebody. You know, you ever have some friend that all they do is complain or talk about somebody? It's like, my goodness, I need to go, I need a break. I can't be around someone I always want to complain and just talk about somebody. No. So let's get 1 Corinthians 10. Yeah. Chapter 10, verse 10. Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer. Now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. And so, all right, so we have to understand murmuring, although a small sin, can be very, very detrimental. So, and our forefathers were getting put to death for continuing to do so. So we have to be mindful of even the small sins, lest we fall into something such as this. Lest us thinking I have it all together and your sin be something small that you're not fixing. Let's go Isaiah 29 and 24. Actually, I'll read it from here. Isaiah 29 and 24. They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. That's good. So we err in spirit, with these things. For most of these battles are spiritual, not carnal. No physical stone needs to be thrown. So, other than the ones we throw from our mouths. Yet, for all this, we have the choice and opportunity to learn doctrine and repent. Those that murmured and still murmur to this day can change our ways through learning how to better deal with things in a way that is holy. Okay? Let's get Isaiah 41 and 21. Let's get the book of Isaiah 41 and 21, and then last go to Philippians 2 and 14. So Isaiah 41 and 21, it says, produce your cause, saith the Lord. Bring forth your strong reasons, saith the King of Jacob. We must work to wisely speak on how we feel and why we feel that way. So, and, bring it to the right people at the right time. So, but be the voice of reason and help out of the little, fires that give balance to the situation, both of which can be resolved through word and action. And you must choose to be either the one that builds or the one that destroys. Just be sure your words and are building and not tearing down others. Let's get Philippians 2, 14 through 15. Book of Philippians chapter 2, verse 14 and 15. Philippians 2 and 14. Do all things without murmurings and disputings. So, verse 15. That you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. So, with that, I hope you got, you know, something out of this, learned something new, or got, refreshers of things you may have already known. Good to hear it again. Um, today's new moon, so play after new moon. You can like, share, subscribe. Always appreciate it. So with that, man, shoot, that's all I have for you guys. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.